The soup was lukewarm, tasteless. Exactly what Jack expected. Jack stirred it slowly, plastic spoon scraping against cheap ceramic. The sound was as colorless as the meal itself. Across the long, sterile cafeteria table, Mike practically vibrated with energy. His spoon shook so much it nearly splashed soup onto his uniform. "Jack, can you believe it's today? 3 hours. Just 3 hours and we'll be Awakeners," Mike said excitedly. His voice was meant to be a whisper, but it carried anyway. "Maybe," Jack replied non-committally. It was his favorite word. Short. Non-committal. A shield that cost him nothing. Mike leaned closer, eyes shining with excitement. "I'm telling you, man, I've got a feeling. My grandfather was a C-rank warrior. Bloodline matters. I'm hoping at least a D-rank strength talent. That's all I need to get into a guild. Maybe even the Iron Claws." "Can you imagine?" Mike asked enthusiastically. Jack stirred his soup again. "Maybe," Jack replied nonchalantly. "Maybe? That's all you've got? Come on, you've got to want something. Mage, right? You're always top in system theory," Mike encouraged. Jack raised the spoon, took a sip. The soup was warm. That was its only quality worth noting. "We'll see," Jack said dismissively. Mike groaned but grinned anyway. He always did. He carried hope like it was armor. Jack looked at him, at the raw excitement in his friend's eyes. Then he filed it away. Asset Mike. Function, social camouflage. Unwitting information source, normalcy anchor. Acquisition date 3 years ago. Maintenance cost minimal. Requires occasional interest and agreement. Efficient tool. His gaze drifted across the cafeteria. Where Mike saw nervous teenagers, Jack saw data points. David tapping his fingers nervously. Anxiety issues. Low self-esteem. Recruitable as a follower. Sarah laughing too loud at a joke no one found funny. Desperate for validation. Easily manipulated. 200 orphans, each one a sheep, waiting for the system to sort them into valuable or worthless. They called it the awakening. Jack knew the truth. It wasn't random. It was a sorting mechanism. And today, he would finally be sorted too. The difference? He wasn't afraid of the result. His anticipation was a cold, clinical thing. No joy, no fear, just the thrill of a craftsman waiting for a new set of tools. 15 years he'd operated with his bare hands. Soon he would have scalpels. The auditorium buzzed like a holy site pretending to be sacred. Dry air, a faint ozone sting, the sharp smell of industrial cleaner. On the stage stood 2 bureau officials, rigid as statues. Between them, a crystal about 3 feet tall pulsed with pale blue light, the awakening seal, the instrument of fate. One by one, names were called. The ritual always went the same way. First, the Job. Second, the talent, the foundation of a life, then the lottery that determined its value. "Sarah Kane," the bureau official called, his tone formal. The girl who had laughed too loud earlier nearly collapsed as she walked up. Her hand trembled on the crystal. It flared white. A staff shimmered above her head. "Class Healer," the bureau official announced. Relief broke across her face like sunrise. A support class, valuable, safe, the bureau official nodded. The second phase began. The white glow twisted, sharpened into brilliant green. Talent, accelerated healing, C rank. Gasps echoed through the auditorium. Envy followed. Sarah burst into tears, joyful this time. A healer with a C rank talent. Her life had just rewritten itself. The procession continued. A warrior with an F rank talent, an archer with a D. Each reaction, from despair to delight, rippled through the crowd like waves. Then, Mike Ryland. Jack watched his friend stride to the stage, eyes shining. Mike pressed his hand to the crystal. A glowing sword shimmered into being. Class, warrior. Mike's grin widened. Exactly what he wanted. The crystal shifted again. Brown, dull, heavy. It revealed a minor strength boost at F rank. The light in Mike's eyes dimmed instantly. A warrior with bottom-tier talent. A future porter. Maybe a guard in a third-rate guild if he got lucky. Jack noted the look. He cataloged it. The hope stripped away in seconds. The announcer called out, "Jack Vernon!" It was his turn. He kept his head down, shoulders relaxed, gait deliberately average. He pressed his hand to the awakening seal. Cold energy seeped into him. Above his head, a complex arcane symbol flickered into view, like a page from some forgotten grimoire. His class was revealed. Mage. Perfect. Intellectual, bookish, forgettable. It fit the cover. Pins and needles prickled across his skin as mana channels opened. He kept his hand steady for the second phase. The light shifted, calm blue, unremarkable. Talent, mana circulation E rank, skill, mana bolt F rank. A murmur went through the crowd. E rank, not failure, not success, just average. A support mage with a mediocre kit, the kind of person people forget instantly. The official gave a dismissive nod. Sorted, filed, invisible. Exactly what Jack wanted. He frowned, just enough to sell disappointment, and turned to leave. That's when he felt it. Not light, not warmth, cold. A second shift, buried deeper than the first, like someone rewriting the code of his soul with invisible ink. He froze inside, but his mask stayed perfect. His face showed nothing, and then he saw it. A single line of text, faint and ghost white, appearing at the bottom of his vision, hidden from everyone but him. You have acquired an unranked, immutable talent, dungeon creation. His heart didn't skip. His pulse didn't race. His face remained plain, disappointed, forgettable. But inside, a cold smile spread. This wasn't a scalpel. This was a factory, a weapon disguised as mediocrity. Jack walked back to his seat, calm as ever. Hey, E-rank's okay. You'll make a good support mage. We could party up, maybe, Mike said, friendly. Jack nodded, barely hearing the buzz around him. His eyes stayed locked on the stage, but his thoughts were elsewhere. A faint itch crawled up his spine, a hum at the edge of hearing. The static he'd been suppressing for weeks now roared louder. They see a sheep, but the system raised me as a wolf, Jack said, cold and confident. The hum sharpened suddenly, splitting into a single piercing note inside his skull. Not his thought, something else, something older. Another window flickered into existence. Not a notification, an invoice. Dungeon creation requires a foundation. A sacrifice is needed to anchor the first stone. And with that, Jack understood. His new tools were waiting. All they needed was blood.